Hey, gang, here we are, Monday night, and it's the Tilt Hour again. And thank you so much for coming on board for us. You know that we love you guys to be here because, well, we love to motivate you. We love to inspire you. We love to give you those little get through the next week. And last week we had an amazing training from Toby and Layla. And this week we're going back to the mind, not games, but the mind inspiration because that's so super important too. But coming up in the next few months or so, you're going to see a lot more training from some really effective people. So jump on board with us and stay with us. But Monday night, the the doer, the dreamer, the entrepreneur. And if you are new to us, please say hi in the chat roll so that we can all welcome you on board. And the other people, everywhere, there is a topic that you would love to talk to us to talk about, write it in there. Write it in. We're game. We'll tackle anything. And the other thing is, if you have a question while we're moving along through this, write it out because we've always got our eyes on the chat roll. So I want to get right into it tonight. There's the four of us tonight. The other two gals, they have commitments, so they were unable to make it tonight, and we miss them, but they will be back next week. But I want to get right into it. This was a topic that Morgan actually came up with tonight, and her swipe that she wrote was amazing, and it's like, quit the efforting and up the inspiration. And I could probably talk about inspiration all night. So that's really scary when she came up with this topic because, well, they got to have their turn too, right? Yeah. But as I'm sitting here and talking to you tonight, I'm looking around, I'm reflecting at the surroundings, my small little office in my home that, I've called my office for the past 2 years, and the journey that I've been on. And I want to tell you a story, okay? I have come so far, and I have so much further to go, but for now, I want to welcome you into my head and my soul and my heart and what has been my journey for up till this point. And I remember the day that I left my corporate job, which was, I like to call, the first day of the rest of my life. And my boss, he thanked me for everything I had done, and he smiled, and I just basically, I just smiled back. It was kind of funny that the journey ended like that without any words. So although I'm going to use words to try to share what this amazing journey has been, and the experience that I have been on for 2 years and what it has meant to me, it needs to be understood that words will always fall short of what I'm going to talk. 2 years ago, I left corporate America with the intentions of giving my life to my entrepreneurial dream and work my online business. And you know what? I didn't even know what that meant when I decided to do it. It was just words. I mean, leaving behind a career in corporate America can only be compared to me like when I left Canada and I moved to the United States. I left family, I left friends, I gave up nearly everything I owned. And so this journey was like moving to a new land with a new culture, with a new language even. So over the past couple of years, I have learned, I have done, I have taught, um, and I've taught that in the art of entrepreneurship and never stopping going after my dream. Never. I have never stopped. I have given everything I have. And it hasn't come without a sacrifice. I mean, I've had loss of sleep, loss of sleep. I've had loss of exercise, loss of friends, and even loss of money. And so, as my age, I look at it and I think, well, I'm experienced in a lot of things, so I really feel like I have a lot to give to the world. But it might appear that I've sacrificed a lot to follow my heart, but really, what is sacrifice? What is that? Is doing what I've always wanted to do really a sacrifice? What if I had chosen a different path? What if I had stuck with a job that I hated, but continued to build a career I despised, did mundane daily activities that I didn't love? You know what? I asked myself that. But of course, when I started, I wasn't sure why I was even doing this. But as time has gone on and I've started to get a better grasp of the truth, I did this for one simple reason. And I know this goes for all of you. I want to live. So if I did this for all, I could live, it's only fair to ask, am I living? Well, to be fair, I would say so. I'm really happy, that's for sure. And isn't that we want to live to be happy. So don't get me wrong, I'm human like everyone else. I've had bad days, okay? I doubt myself. I worry about stupid crap. I create unnecessary stress. I worry what others will think of me. I get lost in my thoughts. But overall, in the average day, I am pretty darn happy. So let me ask you this. Are you living? Are you living? So at this stage of my journey, do I wish I had turned out differently? Was it worth it? Would I make a different choice looking back on it? Honestly, I wouldn't change any of it. The past 2 years have been the greatest adventure of my life. But I am also aware that I'm just beginning. My next years are about to be a truckload of even more awesomeness. For now, I have a question for you. Are you living, and what do you want? It's an interesting question. What do you want? What I find is that it's not that we don't know what we want, but rather we're distracted by a bunch of crap that we don't want. When you spend time and energy going after things that you don't want, but you think that you want, you are left feeling like something's missing. And it's in those moments of silence, those moments of solitude, when the world is quiet and you're left with just yourself, when the truth really comes through. And it's at times the voice is very loud that we hear it. And there's other times it's a whisper. We hardly hear what's going on in our head. And we both know what it's saying, but you don't want to admit it because you know what it means. And it means change. Relationships, jobs, geography, life, change. The voice is saying one thing. There is more. So I see a lot of people struggle in this business, and it hurts me to the core because I remember going through that roller coaster of emotions while I was building my business. And when you have those times, you want to quit. Always remember why you started in the first place. And here's the one thing I can relate to success for myself. It's persistence and it's passion. Okay? Persistence, everyone has their own personal journey. Inner demons that they battle with. And sometimes it's our own self-belief stopping us from being successful. Even after I started making some money, I would battle with myself daily with things like, did I just get lucky, or do I deserve to make this kind of money, or can I keep my business going? And I struggled with that for a long time mentally, to believe in myself, to shut out people who doubted me, and to not give two hoots what others thought about me. However, no matter how much I doubted myself, or I wanted to quit, or I would want to crawl into a ball sometimes and just roll up and say, I don't know how to give up. Once I started having success, I battled with, do I deserve it? But it's important as you're going along your journey that you stay excited about what your life can be. And I'm constantly changing things in my business to remain excited, to keep the passion burning, and to want to push harder. So did you catch that? I'm constantly changing things in my business, which leads you to passion. And no matter where you are in your journey, don't ever let that passion die. If you want something bad enough and you're willing to pay the price, you can and will have it. And I suggest that you spend lots of time working on your inner game. Inner game? Well, these days my library is growing by the week. I mean, as soon as I start working my way through the books that I've ordered, I jump back on Amazon and I order some more. I'm spending more time on personal development, spirituality, and learning to think the way I know I need to in order to reach my next goal. Making money isn't just about hard work. It's about the whole big picture of what you want to achieve and the person that you want to become during the process. So money is not the number one thought in my life anymore. I like nice things, don't get me wrong, but I am more focused now than ever about creating a business I am truly passionate about. I went through a roller coaster of emotions throughout my journey, but the one thing that carried me this far was the passion I had in my heart to finish what I had started. So if you're at a point where you're struggling to make your first money, you've hit a rut or plateau, or you're just trying to get unstuck, I would tell you to rekindle that passion inside of you. Don't let yourself get focused on the money, but get focused on what you want to achieve. And the money is a natural progression then. Successful people are passionate people, and they live their life to fulfill their purpose. We're a rare breed, we all know that, and we are always craving to achieve our goals. But sometimes you have to work through the kinks to get there. So don't let the little things or the problems you from reaching your goal. So ask yourself this: what's your motivation? Everything we do has an incentive. There is a reason behind the car you drive, the person you fall in love with, and everything in between that. However, I've noticed that a lot of people do things without knowing why they do them. And if I asked you, if I asked you what you do for a living, what would you say? You might say it's because you need to make money. Why is that important? Well, it's important because you need to provide for the family, or because you want a car or a better vacation or a house with a pool or something. Why do you want the things that you want? You might say, I want that car because it's a symbol of success, or I want that house because it's the same kind of house all my friends have. But by asking the questions, you begin discovering the motivation behind the decisions that you make. So why are you in a relationship with someone? You might say, because the person gives me everything I need. Well, if that's true, then why do you need the things your partner provides? If you look deeply into the answer to that question, you might discover that the idea of you needing certain things is rooted in a message you saw repeated in a Walt Disney film as a kid. If not that, it may just as easily rooted in a belief your parents instilled in you about what you need in order to be happy. Yeah, how many parents did that to us? They instilled what we needed, right? And by asking the right questions, you might discover you don't actually need those things you think you need. I'm getting talking around and around. I hope you're staying with me. But when you know the motivation behind your decisions, you become very clear about whether these decisions truly represent you. And this puts you in control. And all of a sudden, you're the one dictating your life based on what's true to you instead of what you thought was true to you. And when people ask me why I do what I do for a living, I tell them because I want to give others an advantage as opposed to the disadvantages their world, their guidance teacher, or their parents gave them. However, if asking this question led me to realize that I do it because I want to write a blog in order to fulfill my ego, then it would give me something to think about and most likely, yeah, something to work on. If you choose to do the work, it might drastically change what I do for a living, and by default, it would bring me what I truly wanted. So, many people don't want to ask these questions of themselves because they're afraid of what they actually might discover. And knowing the true desires of your heart, it's not something that you can avoid. You have to look deep in your heart. Knowing what you really want puts you in control. And when you are in control of your life, you begin to see through different eyes. You just do. And there is so much to see. Ask yourself why you do what you do and see what you come up with. You never know where the answers will take you. Okay? And are you ready to ask the questions of yourself and in all likelihood change things in your life? Right now, if you are doubting yourself, if you don't believe in your dreams, if you're in a bad spot in life and wishing your life could be better, if you don't have the support system, if the people around you are doubting you, if you feel like you're not smart enough, I'm here to tell you to keep on pushing and believe in yourself. If you want to become the best version of yourself, you have to face your fears and do it anyways. Every successful person faces a lot of the same emotions you're going through. I mean, we all did that. We all do it. They had to constantly upgrade their wisdom. They had to work on their mindset to get to the next level. They had to fall forward by learning from their mistakes. So that's where inspiration comes in. Up your inspiration game. They had to face a lot of the same obstacles and situations you're facing now. They had to doubt their doubts and keep pushing when they didn't see the light at the other end of the tunnel. So like I said a few years ago, my personal journey started and I was many dollars in debt. And I was so miserable and I quit my job and I gambled it all on my dreams. And I've gone through failure after failure after failure over the years. I kept failing forward and I kept telling myself this pain will not last forever. And I kept telling myself my life can and will be what I created in my mind. And I kept telling myself I'm smart enough to become one of the best in my niche. Now, it wasn't easy. It was not all fun and games, and it was one hell of a roller coaster ride. But it was all worth every single minute of it in order to get to the point that I'm at in life right now. Now my life's more like a dream than a reality. I mean, I've stepped into my vision and I paint the picture before it unfolds. I have experienced that sneaky voice called resistance, and I could have rolled over and cried and quit and just accepted I'm not meant for this business. Instead, I got mad, and I used my anger to propel me forward faster than I did at any time. But my vision is so laser focused now that everybody can see it that's around me. My family can see it, and the people who follow me can see it. And I say, one day I'm going to do this, and within the next few days, I change it and I cut the timeline in half if my world is going in that way at that time. I do. I learn to get better at getting things done quicker. And it's because I made a decision. I was going to be successful once and for all and get everything in life I've been working for. And now I wake up and I'm really, really happy. But I wasn't always like that. Like I said, years ago, like the last 8 years before I quit my job, I wasn't like that. But there, I know that there are other people out there struggling just like I once did. And if I can help just one person see that they can turn their life around, it doesn't matter if you're a single mom. It doesn't matter if you're in debt and trying to dig yourself out of a rut. It doesn't matter if you're in a third world country and looking to give yourself and your family a better life. It doesn't matter if everyone around you is doubting you and telling you that you're a dreamer and will never make money online. I'm here to tell you that I believe in you. And I know what you're going through, and I know how you feel right now. I want you to dig deep. I want you to tap into your vision. I want you to feel the fear and do it anyway. I want you to tap into your why. And remember to keep pushing when you're tired. I want you to force yourself out of your comfort zone and do the things you need to do. I want you to make the sacrifice. I want you to demand better for yourself. And darn it, I want you to get angry that your life is not the way you want it to be. And use that anger to drive you with every inch of your soul and get what you want out of life. You can do this when you decide to push yourself harder than you've ever gone before. This is your time. This is your moment. Live it. Okay? Are you ready to start believing in yourself today? Can I share something with you that I learned early on in this business? I'm going to anyways. There are 3 keys to business, and it's motivation, inspiration, and action. And most people love to get motivated and inspired, but what most of us do in life is we get motivated for small blocks of time. We get pumped up, we get super excited, and then we do nothing. And an hour later goes by and we're about into something else in our day. Well, the key is the 30-30-30 system. I've said this before. You have to listen to motivation for audios for 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night and for 30 days. And it will get you pumped up. And you will apply it to your business. Action is what's important. A very cheesy internet marketing saying is, take action now. But it's true. It is true. We need to take action and we need to put it to good use. Let the things I say inspire and motivate you, but make sure you put a ball of fire under your butt and work like it's getting extremely hot. So, in the next few months, you will see such a change in your business, just like I am seeing in mine. I'm teaching people to tell their story and how to attract their ideal client and how to overcome the negativity that people throw at you on a daily basis and how to release your inner leader inside of you. I know what my real goal is, and it's to mentor as many people as possible. And you know what your goal is. You have to have known what it is. When after a while, after you've been in this a few months, you figure out what it is that you want to do. So this gives me a reason to get out of bed every single morning. And when you set your mind on a goal, you believe in that goal, you become obsessed with that goal, you combine that with a sickening work ethic and worth ethic too, you will bring yourself closer and closer every single day to that goal. So as you get motivated and you get inspired, get fired up and get to work. And I am sorry that if I ranted, but I'm a little bit passionate when it comes to helping you guys. So that's all I've got to say, and I want to turn it over to everybody else now. So, and let's move quickly because I took longer than what I thought. So, Shirley May, go for it, please.
Hey Nettie, thank you so much for sharing your story. I find it interesting that we both, took huge leaps of faith, followed that gut feeling, that inspiration or that, inner muse. And honestly, it is super scary in the beginning. Like I left the Amish, I left my family, but I knew that if I didn't, I would regret it. The same as Nettie did. If she would have stayed in that corporate job, she would always be sitting at that desk, staring at the window every day, probably at the same time every day, thinking, what if I could be home right now living my perfect life, living my ideal life? But she didn't. She's not doing that. She is living her ideal life because she chose to follow that voice. So real quick, I just want to share with you some thoughts that I have about inspired action versus efforting, is what the swipe said. And there's a huge difference. I didn't know the difference in the beginning, but this topic is actually a personal favorite of mine, and I have to admit I journal about it every day. I think about it for hours, and I can even show you the journal right here. It's a picture of a bulldog. It's the dog that I want to get someday, and it's filled with all these thoughts and things that I jot down that I learn about. And so I want to just, if I have your permission, I want to share with you some of those things and see if we can get you moving past working your business with resistance and move into working your business with joy, with inspiration. All right? So to me, being inspired is following that voice, right? You can work in your business one day without any resistance, and you can feel so free and it feels so amazing. The next day you can do the exact same thing and you can feel miserable. The difference is the one day you follow inspiration, you follow your muse, and the next day you shut them up in the dungeon, right? You do everything with overwhelm because you have that need for control, right? You start doing all the things you should be doing and not the things that are most important, the things that you want to be doing. Right? A couple of days ago, or I think a few weeks ago maybe, I wrote a Facebook status, and I just want to read it out loud to you now because it kind of falls in line with what I want to talk with you guys about tonight, and that's about inspiration. Okay, so what I wrote was, being quiet doesn't mean you've given up. Sometimes big things can only get accomplished if you don't talk about them. So to my fellow introverts, my big thinkers, the creators and the crazies, it's okay to go a little silent every now and then. It's okay to stop scrolling, stop posting social media updates, and it's okay to start making things. It's fine if you trim the fat from your business while you focus on that one important thing that your customers really need, right? Engaging on social media, consistently on all your channels, doing 10 scopes a day, that's all fun. But if it makes you a whole pile of $0, you gotta stop. Not forever, but you gotta stop for a bit, right? Doing all that stuff is meant to create buzz around what you're selling. If you haven't created a kick-butt product or an amazing freebie to build your list, then what are you creating buzz about? So taking time off from doing everything that makes you look good may make you feel guilty, but trust me, it's worth it. Because when you follow your intuition, and that allows you to get clear on what your customers need, and it allows you to just shine bigger and brighter than you would if it just allows you to unleash who you really are versus following what everyone else tells you you should be doing. Okay? Some of the hidden resources of inspiration that you can start using today to create a change in your life and business are two things. Here are the two things that I do every day that give me inspiration. Number one, I talk out loud to myself. Yeah, I know I sound crazy, but I do, and it works, right? You don't worry about finishing any sentences or keeping your train of thought. Just go on a walk and start talking. You'll be amazed at when you start pretending to talk about what you want to say in a bridge video, or what you want to do in a blog post, or if you imagine your ideal customer that's walking right beside you, what you would say to them, or you're imagining. When you imagine something like that and you just start talking out loud, you tap into wells of inspiration that you didn't even know that you had. Okay? And number two, to get into an inspired state, it takes energy. So you got to define what gives you energy, and you got to also define what depletes your energy. So just to give you some ideas, like meditation, long walks, drinking tea, staring at waves, yoga, praying or journaling, all those types of things are things that give you energy. So things maybe like TV, movies, talking to negative friends and family, that's going to deplete your energy, right? It's the difference between being able to work 10 hours a day in an inspired state of being, right? Or working 1 hour and feeling so exhausted and feeling like you have to push yourself to work that 1 hour. That's the difference between working in an inspired state and working in a state of efforting, okay? Let's define effort for a minute. Okay, I actually Googled this. I'm not going to say that I came up with this on my own, but this is something that I saw on Google with Abraham Hicks, and they said that effort is action with the presence of resistance. Okay, effort is when you're taking action in the presence of resistance. So if resistance isn't there, all you have is freedom. All you have is action and freedom. Okay? I also want to share with you something that I heard on a video. I listen to Abraham Hicks all the time, and something that they said is, never mind what is, okay? Imagine it for how you want it to be so that your vibration matches your desire. When that happens, all the things in your experience will gravitate to meet that match every time. So what I took that to mean is, inspired action is when the lines between your present and your future blur a little bit, right? Yes, you know what you want. Yes, you know that you don't have it, but you're having so much fun doing all the actions that you're doing that the focus is off what you don't have, and it's on the present moment. It's on the just amazing joy that is bubbling out of you, out of doing what needs to be done now, right? It doesn't mean you have to give up your goals for the future. It's that you have chosen, you've decided to love the contrast of your life now, and you have that knowing that everything that is to come in the future is only going to enhance how you feel now. See, a lot of you guys set goals because you think it'll give you something. What you don't realize is that all the power in the world is at your fingertips. It's in your present moment right now. And when you can tap into that, you tap into an energy that allows you to work on your business 12, 24 hours a day if you let it. And I just want to end on that note. I'm getting off on a bit of a rant, but I want to pass it back over to Nettie and just let you guys know, if you want to message me on Facebook, you see my name underneath the screen here, you see my Facebook address. You guys can message me, and I would love to connect with you about resistance, about inspiration. I deal with this every day. I write about it every day, and I'd love to help you out. Or if you have any questions, just post them in the chat below, and maybe we'll have time to get to them by the end of the Hangout. So thanks for having me today.
Thanks, Shirley May. Great points. You made some great points, and I think, yeah, we're all a little thinking that we're ranting because this is so powerful. This is so powerful. You know, people give up, and it all comes down to just having the inspiration and what is your inspiration trigger. You know, finding that. So, Morgan, can we get you to step up and get you on here? Okay, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're actually a little dark.
Is that better? No.
Yep.
I'm sitting in a corner of light, so it's quite ironic. Is that better?
Yeah, no, you're fine. That's
cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Bit dark?
A little bit. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just gonna move into the lounge. I just wanted to say how awesome I loved what Shirley was saying about Abraham Hicks. Because I love Abraham Hicks, and I know that Zen does as well. I'm sure most people have listened to her stuff, but just to hear Shirley talk about it with such passion is just so exciting to me. I just think that was just so awesome. And one of my tips that I was going to share today is a meditation by Abraham Hicks that I listen to every single morning now for probably about the last 3 weeks. So if you guys want to hear that meditation, just tell me in the chat and I'll chuck the link in there. But it's really inspiring. It's easy to listen to. It gets you in the right frame. It gets you in alignment for your day so that everything can go to plan. So can you guys just hold with me for 1 second? Sorry about this.
I think Morgan should put the link in there when she's done speaking, don't you guys? For sure, yeah. We'll get you to put the link in after you're done, okay?
It's awesome. It's only 15 minutes, and it's Shirley and Zen, may have heard it, but yeah, I love it. So, inspiration. Just listening to you ladies is just like Netta, your story. I think the best way to start this hangout was for you to tell your story, because everyone can relate to it. It's just so inspiring. And when I was listening to your story, I was thinking, oh, my tips are kind of more tangible. I haven't really thought about telling my story, but I think it's good to have a bit of balance, have that inspiration from Nettie, and then have some other, ideas that we can do to keep ourselves inspired. What I want to do is I want you to close your eyes for a second and just imagine back to a time in your life where you just felt free, where you just felt, and it might have only been a 5-minute period of time. It might have been a whole day, it might have been a holiday you were on, something where you just felt free and you felt that ecstatic feeling. And it comes and goes, and I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I'm sure you have at some point in your life, that feeling of just utter excitement. And for me, I experienced it recently. I was outside in the sun and it just came over me. Like, I looked out on the blue sky and it was all completely sunny, and I just got that excitement for summer. It was like a feeling of just complete joy. And I've also got another memory of when it was probably like 5 years ago actually, when I lived in Australia for about 4 months over my university summer holidays. And whenever I'm feeling kind of a bit flat or uninspired or can't get ideas coming to me, I just close my eyes and I think of that moment and I bring that feeling back to me. So you sit there and you just imagine something, and then that becomes your thing. So whenever you're not feeling how you would like to feel, just bring yourself back into that moment and just imagine it, and just start living that feeling, just even for 5 minutes, and it'll just give you that little bit of boost that perhaps that you need. What happens when you are inspired? Okay, so I want to talk about that for a minute. How can it be so different? How can it be when you're uninspired? How can it be so different to when you're inspired? I want to talk about Abraham Hicks as well, what she talks about as being in alignment, and it's so true. When you are inspired, you're in alignment. That's just basically what she says. She says that when you're feeling joy in the present moment, and when you're just inspired to do what you're doing in that moment, you're in alignment and you're going towards everything that you desire. So it makes perfect sense that if you're going to write a blog post or do a video or try and talk to somebody about your business, that you are in alignment. And from what I just said, being in alignment is being inspired, being happy, being joyful in the moment. So it makes such a huge difference to the way people perceive you, to the way the creative thoughts that come out of your mind when you're doing your blog post or when you're doing your video, if you're in alignment. So for example, if you wake up one day and you wake up feeling really flat, and you're like, oh God, I've got to go and write a blog post, and you say, okay, I've got to take action, I have to take action. So you you trample down to your lounge or whatever, your office, and start to think of what to write, and you're hating every minute of it. And you don't normally hate, blogging, but at this particular time, you're not in the mood. My advice to you then is just stop it. Don't do the blog post. And people will say, well, you need to take consistent action. But when I was writing this swipe today, or the other day, I thought back to a couple of, probably 6-8 weeks ago. I just lost my passion for blogging. I literally lost my passion for blogging, and I didn't do a blog post for about 6 weeks. And I probably shouldn't be telling people that, but I just didn't, because I didn't have any interest in it for that particular period of time. And last week, or the week before, I did a blog post, and I felt so inspired to do it that I felt that feeling of inspiration, and I took action on the inspiration. But prior to that, when I didn't feel like doing it, I didn't beat myself up about it, and I didn't force myself to do a blog post, because I knew that it wouldn't come out well, it wouldn't come out from my heart, and I let it go. I'm not saying that you don't need to work on your business consistently, and I was doing other things on my business, so I was pretty busy as well. But when you don't feel inspired, when you don't feel like you want to do something, don't do it. My message for you today is that you need to energetically get in alignment prior to doing the action. So if you're not feeling inspired, instead of forcing yourself to take some action that you don't want to do, spend half an hour and listen to the meditation that I'm going to put in the chat, or listen to some kind of positive audio, or read a book, or think back to that situation that I just talked about, that you imagined, where you felt free and excited. Put yourself into the energetic, frame of mind, and then decide if you want to take the action. And if you need to take the whole day off, then do that. Come back the next day, renewed with ideas, and let your inspiration flow out of you, because you're just going to be stifled. You're going to feel so stifled if you don't act from inspiration. People say that this business is so super hard. Sometimes people struggle, and they're like, God, I can't get this, and they quit after 3 months, and they join back up, and they do this and that. It doesn't have to be like that. Yes, there are things you need to learn. Yes, it's like doing a semi-degree in a way, and I've done a degree, so I know what it is. There's things you have to learn, technical things, mindset things, things about how to communicate with people, but it's the journey. It's not getting to that end where you make your sale. It's actually the process of the journey. And if you can be inspired throughout that process, that's when you're going to see the most results. That's when you're going to feel like what you're doing is worthwhile. Because if you only feel like you can be happy when you've reached a certain target, you're actually never going to be happy, because that target's going to continually move. So if you say to yourself, okay, God, this business is hard, but I'm just going to keep trugging along. It's really, really hard. I'm not enjoying it. When I make $10,000 a month, then I'm going to just be so stoked. I'm going to be so happy. That's not going to happen, because when you get to that place, it's not going to be good enough for you. So then you're going to say, okay, I've got to get to this next level, and then you're not going to be happy until you get to that level, and it's going to continue. Why would you do that to yourself? That's a lifetime of misery. Why not say to yourself, I'm experiencing this journey of being an online marketer. I'm experiencing this journey of growing into the leader that I want to be, of growing my life, of getting into personal development, meeting amazing people, and I will get there, and I will reach the targets that I want to reach. But I'm having so much fun in the moment, which is what Shirley talked about. I'm having so much fun doing what I'm doing right now, that you're almost living as if you've already succeeded before you succeeded. It's almost like, if you never ever succeed at this business, is this going to be enough? And if you can honestly say yes, if you can honestly say, I'm enjoying what I'm doing so much that even if I never made $1, I would probably still continue to do it, that is the feeling that's going to lead you towards success. And I know that sounds really, really hard to believe, because you're thinking, oh God, if I had to do this for like 10 years and I didn't make $1, then I would just be, it would be the worst thing in the world. But I'm at that place. I'm like, I'm loving what I'm doing right now. I so enjoy, I've started my Morgan Page TV, which is just, lots of people have done little TV shows like that, so it's not original, but it's just something that I can work on, that I can bring to the table, that I can make, use my movie making skills, which I enjoy doing, and just finding different little things in your business that you can kind of expand. Neddy talked about changing things, constantly changing things in your business, you know. And by changing things, you could be doing things like, you know, getting different trainings, getting a mentor, getting a new idea. What are you working on? Or, you know, my Morgan Page TV that I'm doing. So it's just things to just keep you going. Just don't keep doing the same old thing, because you're going to get bored. It's going to be really, you know, tedious. Okay, so I feel like I've, as everyone's said on the panel as well, like we just go on and on and on, but I guess my main message today is just enjoy what you're doing now. Just say to yourself, if I never ever succeeded, if I never made $1 in this business, would I continue to want to spread my joy? Would I continue to want to learn these skills and, you know, spread my message to the world, continue to blog, continue to communicate with people? Would I want to continue to do that? Because it's not about the money. It's about enjoying the process. And as I've said, you know, repeating myself so that everyone can understand, once you reach your goals, it's going to be, you might have 2-3 days of happiness, but then it's back to the grindstone. Oh, damn, I'm going to reach the next goal. So basically, just enjoy the moment, enjoy what you're doing now, and just don't like have your goals, but just basically keep going. Okay, I'm going to stop now because I feel like I'm just going on and on. But you get my point, okay? You get my point. So I'll pass it back to Nettie. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to me. I hope it made sense. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Way to go, Morgan. And you're right. Like, you know, always another goal to reach. And I think people. Can you mute yourself, Morgan? I'm an echo here. Yeah. I think what happens is, I lost my train of thought now. Zen, help me. I mean, you've not had sleep for 30 hours, so you should be way more alert than me, right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Take it away, dear. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I bet you all know how excited I am because I'm in hog heaven over here. My two girls talked about my favorite. I'm a huge Abraham Hicks fan, and I think everybody knows that by now. So the funny thing is yes, I was on a flight for 26 hours, you know, between layovers and all that stuff. But right before I got on the flight, and I didn't have time to even email my list, all I did was pop on while I had Wi-Fi, and I saw efforting versus whatever the title of this is, because I didn't even get a chance to read the swipe. It's efforting instead of something. Anyway, I thought of that, and interestingly enough, I just had, and I still only have 5% on my iPad, but I did screenshots of this Abraham Hicks thing that I thought was so just amazing. I love her stuff anyway, and I listen every day. So what I wanted to share with you, because yeah, you know, it's been plane, trains, automobiles, and ferries for me. And interestingly enough, I brought my pillows from the United States. It was well worth $150 to ship that box for these special pillows that I've got just from Costco. Okay, but they don't have it here. And I brought it, and I looked at it last night at 8 o'clock after having something to eat. And I said to Lily, make sure I stay up until 10 o'clock so that I get some sleep. You know, and I looked at my pillow, I put it on the bed, and I go, doesn't that look nice there? And she goes, yeah, don't lay on it. And I go, I'm just going to test it out for 1 second. And I was fooling around. I went face first down into the pillow just to pretend for a minute, and I actually fell asleep. And I woke up at 4, stayed up for a minute, half an hour, and then went back to sleep. So I'm fresh off of a jet lag sleep, and so I just saw that title again, and I went, oh, I've got to get online. So I went to my iPad. So I'm going to read for you a few things that I found very striking that go right to efforting, okay? Because when you're trying, and this is how it starts off, and I thought it was so. Now where did that go? Hold on one second. I thought it was so appropriate because it's just there's so much trying going on, and it says, I'll just read it for you because I'm a little out of it, but we've only got about 10 more minutes, so I want to get to this, and I want to I want to give you this exercise too. It's different than the meditation, but I found it really fun and inspirational, and you can fill in your own blanks, but it's kind of a Abraham Hicks rant, and if you haven't been privy to one of those, you really need to get on YouTube and plug in. Anyways, so what she says that gets in the way of so many people is they get fixated on something and they get determined about it and they just try, and they don't realize that they're all balled up vibrationally, and so their effort doesn't yield anything, and that's what makes you get discouraged. It makes you not believe in your own worthiness, and it what makes you give up on things. Do you see that? So we're wanting to orient you, I'm reading her words, all of you, and make you realize that if you're trying, and if you have been trying, it's a really good indication that you've got a vibrational thing going on that you're trying to overcome, but you're not really overcoming it. You've got to be wobble-free, and I'll explain that in a second. So that's why we're encouraging you to start in a more general place and let new inspiration come to you about how to behave and what to do, and let that new inspiration carry you. Because determination is often, I've got a plan and it's worked for me before, and because that plan is what a lot of people have used, it has certain steps, and I'll do those things. But it doesn't take into account your vibration that you've got going on, and keeping any one of those steps from being effective for you, because it's about your vibration. So, let me get to that. Always when you feel good, you're in a place of attracting that is exactly what you want. You are wanting. So the key is to feel good regardless of the condition, whatever that condition is. Okay. So, oh, I'm going to throw in this because I was feeling really grumpy in that mid-flight. So I thought, I don't usually feel grumpy. So the grumpier you, this is a pattern interrupt for you, okay? The grumpier you are, the better we like it, and here's why. Because that means you've expanded a great deal, and your extreme grumpiness means you're just not keeping up with your expansion. And that expansion is really pleasing because we know eventually you'll keep up with it. It's just a matter of time. And so time is of the essence here, and time is what you have to get in touch with right now, in this moment, feeling good. So I want you to take you on this little, because we're 6 minutes before the hour, and I want to get to this really quickly, because here's her quick advice on how to just pretend and enjoy it. And I'm going to read it for you word for word, but you can do any fill in the blanks that you want when you're done listening to this. But I want you to run through this exercise because it's a 2-minute exercise and it'll really change your life every morning, okay? So it says, just pretend and enjoy this. The entire universe will respond. Okay? So you could sit in your car and be driving down the street. And you could pretend you're in a convertible. And you could pretend that the sun is shining on you. And you could pretend that you're in a bathing suit. And you could pretend that your body was tan. You could pretend that your body was beautiful. You could pretend that people are looking and whistling. You could pretend that you were proud. You could pretend that you're lying on a beach towel. You can pretend that you're playing volleyball. You could pretend you're running down the beach. You could pretend that you're jogging just a little bit. You could pretend that you're on a horse. You can pretend that you're in a tennis match. You could pretend that you're anything you want to pretend. And in the time of pretending, your body lines up as if you are that. So I think you understand the exercise, and you can fill in those pretends. The reason why I glommed onto it is because I'm a beach girl, I have a convertible, I have half of those things, and I think, wow, yes, I can pretend that, and then it becomes who I am in those moments. And in those moments, and it's each and every moment, as we've all talked a little bit about business and just being, in each moment is where everything lies. Because all those stacked up moments of feeling good about who you are, how you are, what you're pretending that you want to become, and then becoming it, because you start to vibrate as if that, and then it is that, and then it becomes that. So you are always in the process of becoming. So whether it's becoming that internet marketer, you can throw that goal out there, out into your vibration if you want to, but vibrate with it now. And as Morgan said, and I just had to laugh because 6 weeks of not blogging is a long time, but if you're going to not do it, do that with joy. And if you're going to do it daily, do that with joy. But if you're doing it as a psychic chore, that comes through in the vibe. Because I have read blogs where it feels like, okay, somebody used Speed Blogger just to get one up today. And that's not a knock to whoever that was. I don't even remember who it might have been. But I remember reading it and thinking, okay, that was knocked together very quickly just to put out a blog post. I get it. Because it puts you up on the Google ranking system. But do you want a Google rank or do you want to feel good? I'm always going to go for feeling good. And I want you to as well. So if you came here today and you got any inspiration from Nettie's big ass storytelling, I love that. I love her stories. And then Shirley bringing up my girl, my ears perked up and I went, uh-oh, I'm starting to go into hog heaven here. I was feeling pretty good, but now I'm in hog heaven. And then Morgan followed up on it and I went, oh, yes. Because I love Abraham Hicks' version of law of attraction because we are the attraction. And we have to feel good in each and every moment. And if you're going through anything that doesn't feel so very good and you're thinking, oh, how do I do that? You don't have to go from 0 to 60. Just go one notch up think of one nice thing that you can step up that thought process to if you're not feeling great. Just take it up one notch because one notch will make you feel better. And once you start feeling better, you'll want to take it up another notch. So no matter what you're going through, there's always one notch. And as she'll say, Abraham Hicks, under any conditions, be able to get to a place of feeling good. Under any conditions, be able to get to a place of feeling good. Under any conditions, take yourself to a place of feeling good. And I'm going to leave it at that. And whoever sent you here to get some words of inspiration from us, either get back to them or get with one of us, or as Shirley said, connect with us on Facebook. We're open, we're friendly. And we're always responsive to private messages as well as comments on our posts. So peace until next week. And I'm so glad I made it here today. It took a lot of configuring in my VPN and our Wi-Fi and all that stuff. But here I am sitting on my bed. The rest of the room is a bloody mess. But I'm going to tell you that I'm so happy to be here. And thanks. See you next week. Ciao. Back to you, Nettie.
Thanks, Zen. We're happy you're here with us, too. And I think you wrapped it up beautifully. I mean, I hope we've given inspiration to all the lovely people that have come out tonight, and I just want you to know that if you think that you would like to belong to a team that is packed full of inspiration and is always there to help and uplift and move you along to a better place in your world, please hit that button below. And let's get started. Let's do it right away. If you've been invited here by somebody else, get back to them if you think you'd like to join. And but don't do this alone. Get with a team, and the inspiration will come because we just inspire each other all the time. This whole gang does. So that's why we're here every Monday night too. So anyways, with that, I'm going to call it to a close. Next week we'll be back, same time, same place. Different topic, but have an awesome week, and I hope this has inspired you to go out there and just take, if it's a baby step, take it. If it's a grand leap of faith, take it. Do whatever you have to do, but do something, okay? Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.